Alright, welcome to Alpha. So I'm going to try something new here. I'm going to try to show you a little preview of the spec I'm going to use, and I'm also going to show you the preview of this dungeon.
I'm out of range.
Um, I honestly never seen this dungeon until I ran this, as you're going to tell when I get lost a little bit
Far
later.
away.
So the spec I'm running right now is the Soul Cleave build. This is one of two variations. I'm going to try a different one probably this weekend.
I'm out of range.
So this build here uses Abyssal Strike, so using a talent for Abyssal Strike I don't have in front of me. Flame Crash. This is using the new Void Reaver talent, which you can see on top of the crabs right now. Basically, every time I Soul Cleave, I take 8% less damage from everything with the debuff. And as you can tell, the uptime of this with this build is quite high. The play that you're going to see is not optimal. It's not efficient. This is really hard to be efficient with without weak auras. So I'm also using Fel Dev, which I forgot about in this video until like halfway through, so you're not going to see it until about halfway through. Fracture, and Sigil of Chains, and Fallout. So the goal here with this build that I'm trying to do is to keep Immolation on cooldown, Infernal Slam with Flame Crash as much as possible, as you see in here. Sigil of Flames on AoE, or if I have a free global cooldown. Fracture has a 3.4 second cooldown with, I think I had like 22% haste. So it's not bad. So Fracture, get those souls coming out, and spam Soul Cleave, use everything else in cooldown. So first boss, remember this is normal, so they're missing a lot of abilities, or probably a lot of abilities. So she's actually quite easy. Don't stand in the puddles on the ground. When she goes under the ground, she's going to target somebody, just stay away. He ran through the puddle, and I overjumped my Infernal Strike. Fiery Brand and cooldown, by the way. And Alpha, there is no Fiery Demise unless you not glyph, talent into Charred Flesh. Charred Flesh is only a 20% fire, well, magic fire boost. So I'm using Soul Cleave. I'm not even using Spirit Bomb in this rotation. So Charred Flesh is not that great. It would help Immolation, or it would help Fel Dev and Flame Crash, and that's really it. So first boss is going to die in a second. Pretty easy fight, especially at normal. Sandstorm is a cool effect. I'm guessing it's going to be a lot of AoE on high mythic pluses. So I tried the Spirit Bomb build, which I show in a different video. Spoiler, the Spirit Bomb build is probably better, and you'll see why in there. And here with Soul Cleave, Soul Cleave is only critting for 800 per Soul Cleave. And Soul Cleave now only absorbs 2 souls instead of 3. So you can have 5 souls out, but you only absorb 2 when you Soul Cleave. I think Soul Cleave will be better for defensive, especially if you take Void Reaver. But Spirit Bomb is going to do a lot more damage. The spoiler, Spirit Bomb was critting for 2100, whereas Soul Cleave was only critting for 800. A non-crit Spirit Bomb does more damage than a crit Soul Cleave. Trying to get this to move. So this dungeon's kind of fun. Tol Dagor, I guess is how you would pronounce it. This is a prison that you're breaking into. I guess Alliance broke out of it. Now we're breaking back into it. I don't know why. There's no voices. There's no music. I wasn't reading when we were fighting. I was trying to focus on the rotation. So one of the biggest things I noticed about this alpha is that, well, the biggest concern is it's going to be slower with the new Fracture. Since Fracture now replaces Shear, you don't have Shear as a filler. You have to wait till Fracture's back off cooldown with the recharges. Well, charges, I guess. But for my non-optimal play, mind you, this might change if I become more efficient in my play. But in my non-optimal play here, it seems like I always had something to push. On live and single target, I never use Sigil Flame. But now, if I find myself with a global cooldown, especially since it procs Chaos Brand, which increases magic damage by 5%, fire damage. Sigil Flame's actually not terrible so far to use for single target. And I must bring up now, since I'm running up here, up these corridors, Soul Cleave is now a flat 30 pain instead of a 30 to 50 variable, which makes it better, because you know exactly how much you're going to use. There's times in here where I use Soul Cleave 2 to 3 times in a row. Again, it could be because I'm playing sub-optimal play. This dungeon, by the way, you should have slows, because everything runs from you. And I can see this being, honestly, bolstering. So on bolstering, if one of these ads runs to the next pack, you might be in trouble. So it could be beneficial to run with Razor Spikes. That way you have the 20% snare for Soul Cleave. So they're permanently slowed by 20%.
I need to get closer.
The other, by the way, I'm going to try the other Soul Cleave build later, which will be Fellblade and Razor Spikes. Probably keep Void Reaver. So far, I think I'm oh, by the way, this Sigil of Chains looks a lot bigger. I'm gonna have to test that when I get back on the alpha. The diameter of Sigil Chains might be larger, which would be nice. When you're interrupting and when you're in meta, it seems like you're pain capped all the time, so you should be just spamming like Soul Cleave.
I need to get closer.
Yeah, I have no idea where I'm going. This druid kept showing me the way to go.
It's too far away.
Now, this dungeon might also be a headache on Necrotic, because you'll see right up here the second boss in this dungeon, why it could be an issue. Another good change, by the way, to bring this up, Demon Spikes cost no pain, so you can actually use Demon Spikes, then jump in. That way it's up when you land, which is a nice defensive change, especially on the pull. I believe it's a 20-second recharge timer instead of a 15/16, but it's affected by haste, so right now it was a 16-second CD with 20 to 24% haste.
It's too far away. I need to get closer.
Come on, boys! Rip open those doors! Once we get our claws on the Overseer's hostages, we'll be up to our snouts.
So the second boss is right up here, right around the corner. So yeah, these fish guys are actually kind of cool looking. I like them. They put their shield up there, which we should have interrupted. I did not have Arcane Torrent on my bar because I was being bad. And I wasn't using my Sigil of Sounds as often as I should. I want to point out that I'm under geared because the gear in here was like 30 to 40 item levels higher than what I'm currently using. And this is so, in my opinion, under-tuned, or maybe Demon Hunter is really good with healing now, that I didn't really use Demon Spikes or meta very often.
I need to target something first.
Yeah, I think the boss is after one more pull. Later videos, by the way, I'm not going to show the entire dungeon. Since it's so early in alpha, I decided to try this. If you guys don't like it, that's cool. I could try a different method.
Too far away.
I'm probably going to do a side-by-side comparison of both, or probably 3 builds. That way it's easier that you can see the different builds in action instead of just watching the entire dungeon. And if you guys don't like this either, just let me know and I won't do any more of these. I'm not very entertaining, so trying to find stuff to talk about
I'm out of
can be a
range.
little hassle. Sorry.
I need to get closer.
I should be discovering that I have fire demise or not fell dev here shortly, if I remember correctly. Oh, another problem. Or not problem, but something I dislike. Imprison is now a 1 minute cooldown. Here's the boss. So if I imprison a target, somebody accidentally breaks it, I can't imprison again for another minute. This fear is interruptible, at least on normal. I can definitely see that not being interruptible on Mythic, like probably an LOS mechanic. But on normal, you can and should interrupt it. We just missed the first one. So this is pretty boring as of right now. Just a standard, he hits me. Being a normal, I don't really notice much. I guess it was LOS that flashing daggers. Alright, so here's why this is going to be hard in Necrotic. What he's going to do is run around and open up all these jail cells. All of them.
I need to get closer.
So you got to pick up all these ads and fight them all.
It's too far
We probably
away.
could have pre-pulled that sod, so we didn't have them. But then again, it was the hunter who just used barrage, so if you didn't use barrage, you probably would have been okay. So as we're fighting all this trash, he's, if I remember correctly, the boss is channeling behind me. Yeah, he's doing a motivating cry, so he's pretty sure he's buffing everything.
I'm out of range.
So it needs to be interrupted. Yeah, he has 9 stacks of it. So I guess I'm just, guessing now. We need to get there and interrupt it ASAP. That way he doesn't get those stacks.
Sharpening these blades just for you.
Everybody's LOSing and I'm just eating it.
It's too far away.
Clearly my team knows what to do here because they all hit.
I can't attack that.
Yeah, I get this headpiece and it's 25 item levels. I guess the other good news is this plays a lot like the current Demon Hunter, so if you enjoy the class now, you should definitely enjoy it in BFA. Some things were bad changes, like the imprison and no fire demise. Fire demise really made it a fun rotation because you can focus, you can plan for giant big bursts, you can coordinate how to do that properly to increase the damage. But now that entire thing's gone, so that doesn't exist anymore. But some good changes because Demon Spikes without the ping cost. I do like the new fracture, even though it's on charges now. I do like that. And healing has been buffed because now we're healed based on percentage of damage, just like Death Strike. So that's a huge buff for healing, especially in raids. There we go. I remember that fell dev. These officers try to handcuff you to keep you in place, and that's going to come and become a factor right up here. Yeah, I had no idea where I was going. Just trying to watch that druid, whatever way he's walking. The new dungeons, though, honestly, were kind of fun. This one was pretty fun. The very next one, the troll one, is pretty fun. I did not need to pull those. It's kind of funny how much Mythic Plus trains you to look for things. By the way, that Feldev looked like it was doing about 250 to 500 crits per mob per second. So the damage is pretty decent, but I do not think it's going to out-damage Spirit Bomb. I don't have any damage meters to check it, I don't have other stuff to look at. But honestly, I'm pretty sure the Spirit Bomb build is going to be better than this current build, by the way. The other Soul Cleave build can be different.
I can't attack that.
Yeah, I don't know what to do about those bombs because it looks like it's going to explode. I jump away, it doesn't explode. I'm not sure if people are moving them or blowing them up, I couldn't tell. I do have a debuff on me, so I'm guessing they exploded. There's not that many sound effects, there's no music, there's no voiceover, so a lot of this is still work in progress. Well, he just gave me a buff, so it's probably not the bomb. So this part's really cool, the dungeon, if you have not seen this yet. There's a cannon that somebody has to jump into. And it shoots the NPCs and knocks them down and keeps doing a lot of damage. In a previous build of Alpha, this would actually do friendly fire. It does not, but this is also normal. I could see them putting friendly fire back into this in Mythic, which would be awesome. So what he should be doing with that, and I pull this group up here, is he should be knocking down all the casters in the back instead of killing the ass around. I almost die here, I think. Yeah, I popped meta. Yeah, these guys are just free casting. So the cannon person should be blowing up with these ads now. Yeah, that Feldev did 200 to 400. My opinion of this build, I enjoyed it. Keep in mind this was the first time playing it, so it could get boring later. But as of like my first initial impression, I really enjoyed it. I came out of this dungeon feeling pretty good about the class.
I need to get closer.
The Spear Bomb build, which will be coming up here shortly after this video, is different than the current Spirit Bomb build, which makes it more unique and I think better. He's completely missing those enemies. No, maybe he's hitting them. I try to pick it up to see what's going on, and I think it just explodes.
Too far away.
If you guys have any questions about this video or any questions about the class, just leave them in the comments and I will answer them as soon as I can. I don't have a ton of time to get into Alpha, so it's quite limited at the moment, but I can try to answer any questions you guys might have. I noticed though, I don't use Fiery Demise very often anymore, or Fiery Brand very often anymore, since there is no Fiery Demise window. Even though Fiery Brand still does quite a bit of damage, it's like 1,000 damage. Alright, so here's the next boss. This is kind of interesting. She likes to blow up bombs.
I can't wait to see you melt.
Alright, there was 3 Soul Cleaves in a row, keep in mind. So basically, if there's any barrels in those circles, you need to pick them up and move them, like you see he's doing right there, that mage was doing.
I'll reduce you to cinders.
I don't know what Cinder Flame is. Oh, it looks like she just turned. Oh, okay. So she faces a direction and she casts it. So I guess maybe we need to make sure the bombs are not in the direction she's facing. I'm assuming those circles are going to be quite large on Mythic, maybe even the entire room. So right now she's facing over to the left, and he just moved the bomb away from there, so I'm guessing if the bomb was there, it would have exploded.
I need to get closer.
As I was doing this, keep in mind, I couldn't tell what was going on because I was watching my own rotation. Without weak auras, I'm looking at my bars, which is bad. You shouldn't do that. Yeah, she just shot that in that direction, hit that barrel. So I'm guessing a Mythic, we have to make sure there's no barrels anywhere.
Brightest stars.
More bombs incoming!
The fastest.
Alright, so there's one more boss left, which is kind of cool as well. But you have another one of these corridors with cannons to get up to him.
I'm out of range.
Very rarely did I feel like I was ever going to die in here. Keep in mind, it is normal, so I know in Legion, even at normal, when I was tanking, there's times where I thought I was going to die. So the Wardens try to lock you down inside of other AoE. So the Prince was doing Righteous Flames, and the Warden was doing a lockdown, so if you get locked down inside of Righteous Flames, it's probably going to do a lot of damage. And probably death and Mythic Blast. And the cannon should be knocking them back non-stop. So the boss is right up here. I think there's 2 more pulls or one. Yeah, last pull here. 2 Wardens. You can tell that they planned these new dungeons around Mythic Plus, which is good. I'm actually kind of more excited for Mythic Plus than I am the new raids. Alright, so this last boss, if you couldn't guess, has everything to do with cannons. There's a few times where I make some mistakes here.
So kind of you to return for your execution.
So he has a targeting ability where he picks somebody and shoots them and knocks them back. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to eat it. I never did in this video, but I'm not sure if I was supposed to.
You'll get caught in the crossfire.
This cross ignition is great. Also, those cannons face a direction, start charging with no telegraph. If you stand in it, you take damage, get knocked back, which you will see me do in a little bit. You can see that it's glowing over there, so you know which cannon's being triggered. So you have to deal with his abilities while watching the cannons. I think I eat this one. No. Maybe.
Caught in the crossfire.
That cross ignition is really cool though. So here's Deadeye. I don't know. That druid ate it, so maybe I'm supposed to eat it myself.
Gonna try these rounds on living targets. You'll get caught in the crossfire.
Pretty sure I walk right into the. Yeah, I do. So that's bad. Shouldn't do that. Overall, I can see a lot of potential in these bosses, though. They seem like a lot of fun. I enjoy doing them in normal, so in Mythic with more abilities, this should be a lot of fun. And the only thing I'm hoping for that they didn't do, I'm going to get hit by that one too, that they didn't do in Legion is I hope they scale Mythic Plus on like certain abilities if they had a coefficient. So that, what's a good example?
I need to target something.
So say Xavius on Tyrannical shouldn't be one-shotting people. Like, say his Nightmare Bolt should have a lower coefficient, so when you get to higher Mythic Pluses, it's still going to do a ton of damage, but it's not going to one-shot you. So I would really hope they give bosses coefficients on their abilities, so you don't avoid, say, Herjon Tyrannical because you know you're going to get one-shot. There's at least some ways to deal with it. And I know there's some ways to deal with it now, but it's much harder to deal with, if you will. So, that is the Soul Cleave build. That is the new dungeon. The Spirit Bomb dungeon coming out very soon. If you like this sort of idea for like a dungeon slash spec preview, let me know. If you don't like it, also just let me know. I've never done this before, so yeah. Any questions, please leave them in the comments, and thank you for watching.